technical difficulties and shitty puns and bean conversations aside, we're back. We're here. Welcome to Paradise episode. I want to say 5.
Something like that.
Sure.
I believe so, yes. Because we had
5, episode 5. Happy holidays to everyone recording this as of December 17th of the year 2024. This is our final get-together on screen during the holidays, and we'll be back December 7th, if I'm getting my dates right. Either December 3rd or December 7th. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of those. No, January. One of those. Yep. Thank you. Someone's got to keep me honest. I'm just going to keep blabbing until someone corrects me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope your time with your families is full of joy, or, you survive them. Holidays can be a mess sometimes, and so, whatever your walk of life is, I hope and wish you the best of luck. And happy holidays, as I said again. We got a Lego Santa as Owen is playing show and tell with his toys again. Look what I built today!
Have yourself a scary little solstice.
Well, I don't really have an itinerary plan for this episode. We're just kind of, I'm going to lean back in the chair and just have a conversation. I have a little secret surprise for all of you.
Oh?
Merry Christmas, you all level up.
Yay! The 5 of us here level up.
Woo!
Everybody levels up.
No, they didn't show. No shows.
Yeah.
It's
I was thinking about that. I'm like, that'd be mean. They're busy. Exam season, and the V's probably scraping the non-existent snow off of the non-existent snow piles.
Probably.
Yes, I'm so upset. We got the most beautiful snowfall the other night.
Yeah.
Big old, like, snowflake chunks. Perfect packing snow. Callie and I go out, we make a tiny little snowman, we get him little twigs for arms, it's so cute. The next morning, he's melted. He's dead. It's a fucking crime scene. It was just 2 little sticks flopped over each other. He died.
Yeah,
So sad.
Owen didn't want to live in
this
our
month.
city.
This month can't seem to decide if it wants to be white or wet.
True.
Yeah, guys, it's swapping between 3 seasons, like, just in the last, 2 days. It's insane.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's rain, snow, and really fucking cold wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
It's been gross. Yeah, anyways, you guys can, while we're discussing and talking and hanging out, you guys can level up your characters. Maybe we could talk about that. We can talk about anything else. I asked you guys to come up with some topics. I think I came up with 3, because I couldn't think of any, and so...
I came up with 5 talking points.
Nate's got 5.
Yeah. Bit of a joke 6, but,
Joke 6th? Let's start with a joke 6, then.
Okay, so in regards to TBS, it's a 2-parter. Will rocks fall? And the follow-up, will everything die? Because of said rocks.
I've always been a big fan of cow falls from space, but that's more because I think I'm a fan of Earthworm Jim and also the use of the cow inside of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So I'm good with either of those.
That's a fair point. Will rocks fall? Most likely. The world is collapsing. The Everdark is trying to eat everything. Rocks may fall. Will everyone die? I will answer both sides of the question. Will everyone die due to said rocks? No, because you guys are scary powerful.
And we're going to become even stronger when we level.
yeah. So I couldn't afford to get you guys Christmas gifts, so I was like, happy birthday, have a level up.
Very good.
Happy birthday!
Happy Freedom Day!
Happy Freedom Day!
Happy Freedom Day!
Yeah, you made the episode very easy to name.
That was so funny. I cackled at seeing that name. That was really funny. Um, will everyone die in regards to just like not due to those rocks, but in later maybe that would be a fun plot twist. Nope. The Everdark resets everything.
The Everdark
You know?
everything, and we just start back again in hell.
Okay, but to expand on that in an actual serious way, I really have to like kind of consider. Oh wow, I'm leaning forward in my chair. I'm getting serious. It's like, will that be a satisfying conclusion for you guys? We've been on this journey for probably about 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Would that be a satisfying conclusion if we get to the final boss and you fail? Will that be like a good enough story to tell? Probably not is my answer, just because we're so far invested. Obviously, I project probably over 20 episodes until we actually get to the finale. Just projecting. We did 40 episodes this year alone.
Mm-hmm.
Which was an I think it was
40
I
episodes.
think it was 40. It's just under 40, I believe.
Yeah.
Which out of 52 weeks in a year,
Yeah, that's not.
that's
terrible.
right?
That's only 12 weeks off.
Yeah, that's not bad. Kudos to us.
Yeah. And mind you, like 7 of those weeks, like 7 or 8 of those weeks, like we had like fucking half the party gone.
Is that also including the Fandelver weeks? And also the Paradise week?
I don't think so.
Okay. So actually, it's a bit closer. We were episode 49 on January 6th. We recorded our last episode 83. It was uploaded on December. These are upload times. It was uploaded on December 14th, and 49 was uploaded on January 6th. Closer to 30 episodes, but it's 30 and a nickel.
Mm-hmm. But still not bad. Like
Not bad at all.
Like we're playing like every on average every 1.3 weeks. Which is not bad.
For those of you playing the TBS drinking game at home, take a sip every time that Wes ends up disconnecting.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
so gonna screw with that. I'm gonna go pull the router right now and screw with that and make everyone drink.
Motherfucker. You're trying to get me drunk too early.
No, I'm trying to get all of our viewers drunk.
You know what? That's
We're not trying to play by cirrhosis rules.
shoutouts to Germany.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Owen's gone too. All right, take a sip every time Owen leaves too, just for fun.
I think take a sip every time anyone disconnects. Quick, everyone disconnect,
You know what? That's a fair
reconnect over and
point.
over.
I don't. This is not a. Oh,
Oh shit!
People are dropping like flies, man. Holy shit.
oh my god! All right, stop this! Stop this madness!
Suffer,
Stop
viewers.
this madness. That leads me into a nice discussion topic. How do you guys think? Well, I don't know. This is going to be a weird way to phrase this, but like, What's it been like seeing the campaign escalate since episode 49 to episode 83? And to remind you, episode 49, that's the episode where you guys were fighting through Palos and then ended up killing Solari. And then after that, it was the island of Iker, and then everything after that. So what's it been like, say, probably in regards to episode 49 and below the escalation to that, to have the escalation here now in episode 83?
It's been riding plenty of little waves of anticlimaxes throughout, because there are moments that you just feel the crest, and then there are other times that you just feel like you've hit the wall and we're being dragged through the mud. But I mean, that's the nature of the hero's journey, right? You're supposed to have moments of victorious joy, and other times of crippling damage as you go. It's what you want to have come out of most high fantasy.
Yeah, of course, and I think now, especially after for episode 49 and above, the stakes have been higher. The battles have been larger scaled, or at least the consequences have been more exaggerated to this point. Like the battle of the Raid Industries, where sure you won the battle, but the hearts of the people were swayed towards the enemies. How what is that like as players navigating this world, as seeing the populace, the NPCs, um, being so malleable to the influences of Volnar, and how you guys think that will affect the world as it progresses into the end game?
Well, if I'm going to be fielding the question again,
Yeah!
I'd say we need to hire a better PR firm, as speaking as Alistair for a moment. We need to definitely step up our campaigning. We need to go ahead and make sure that the people know that we are the team to back if you want to see a restoration of the plains to where they should be.
Damn, we really are doing a PR campaign.
Oh, we need
Yeah,
good
you
PR
know what?
people. And Alistair is not that man. He's clever, but he is not exactly he's not the man that you need inside of your corner to influence and manipulate people.
Yeah, he's got some questionable morals, which is it makes it such an interesting foil to, well, I mean, I guess everybody in the group who has their own motives. Some of them may be good, some of them may be self-centered. Um, you know what? This is going to lead me greatly into the next question. We had Chris join us late in 2023, as well as recently we had Shalin join us in the fall of 2024. How's it been
Hey.
joining a pre-existing campaign? And you know what? We'll just start with that, and I'll devolve, because there's a few questions that are added onto that. How has it been joining a campaign, like an already existing campaign?
Yeah, so
Go on.
yeah, so it's been it's been awkward yet very welcoming at the same time. I find I'm able to kind of connect with you guys very easily. We have like the very similar senses of humor and ideas about role play and stuff like that. But it's also very awkward personally as a 5th edition player throwing myself into 3.5. It was very dumb of me to choose a wizard first. That was my fault. I'm glad I got to, sit down and rework that into a new character, one that I understand a lot more, one that was easier to build. Just something where I can kind of have fun with my own creative spin on it, right? So it's been very very interesting trying to do this. It's been very fun and challenging at the same time, and joining into a story that I only knew bits and pieces of that you told me about when I was never a player, right? Because you would talk to me about your D&D stuff, which now you can't, and I apologize. But I would be very interested in, and I'd keep mental notes and stuff. And I'm still like I'm keeping physical notes now, but I'm just kind of like piecing things together personally because I know fuck all about anybody and anything that's happened. So just like learning everything and stuff like from a new perspective as my character would learn it is really fun.
Shalyn, for what it's worth,
Just to
you have not performed half the gaffes that I've pulled off. Just the sheer trying to keep track of all of the assorted NPCs, straight on through to name dropping a non-existent god inside of my early days when I was joining the campaign is no, you haven't done half of the mess ups that I'm sure that I have, and any of the more keen-eared watchers and listeners will have picked up on. No, you're fine. You're fine, buddy.
Oh yeah, you've been doing great. And just to kind of dive into one of the things you said, from let's say like a boots on the ground role playing perspective, what's it been like now playing two characters in the Boundless Shores, and what kind of outlooks your characters, albeit their accents are similar, they're from very different worlds, even though they went to the same college, weirdly enough. Um, has it been different for you playing Ezekiel versus when you were playing Sparrow? From a mental way of how
I
you
think
approach the
so.
world?
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely no, because playing is as Sparrow originally, just like it was mainly role play and stuff, and then I didn't really understand my character at first, right? Like it was hard, and even at the end, I still didn't understand my character. It's kind of why I swapped. But like going into the role play aspect of this, I think like I'd like to think they have similar accents because they went to school in the same area and they both like they wanted to fit in a little bit more. Sparrow was easily able to do it, whereas Ezekiel had to like kind of change his accent in order to match his peers, and that helped us fit in. Like that's kind of what I was going for there. It's been very interesting, just trying
That's
to
a
do that.
really cool detail. I'm not sure if that was ever intentional while you were building the character, but that is a really cool detail to add into your character of like the populist bias of going to a prestigious school like Elra, of wanting to conform and wanting to fit in. That is awesome. Um, Chris, you have any insight to your experience? I mean, you let us in a little bit with maybe some of your mistakes that you may have made along the way, but how has it been like for you meshing into the story, and now you're one of the veteran players, so to speak, comparatively to Shalin, on
Well, I mean,
joining a pre-existing campaign?
there's still plenty of times that I'm screwing up with names, whether they be of assorted NPCs or locations, but I do at least try to provide enough context notes so that way it seems fluid enough to keep track of where or the people and places that I'm referring to. Uh, I should probably get an actual copy of the map at one point in order to actually take a look and graph out exactly what the path has been along this grand old adventure from the start of
I have
the
a printer
series
here.
on.
I'll ask my roommate if there's a scanner on it, and I'll just scan the map and I'll just email it to you guys, so you can print it off yourselves, so then you guys can have an actual scan of the map instead of a me trying to take a shitty picture of it.
Either that or else we need to build ourselves a mini wiki.
Honestly, talking about that, I saw this really cool program. I can't remember what it's called. Obsidian. Now I remember what it's called. Obsidian. and it's basically like I'm sure some of you guys may have seen it, but it's like a brain map where you have like these dots and they connect to other dots. But if you click on one of those dots, it's like you get a piece of lore and you can link it to other pieces of lore, and that's where you get the strings from. I believe it's called Obsidian.
Yeah,
Liam,
we
you've
could
definitely
probably
seen it.
use one of those great big string cork boards in order to keep track of things.
Yeah, I think that's one thing definitely in my next campaign that I would like to do. Probably like work off of World Anvil or Obsidian or one of those programs like that to have a lot of more things on paper than just my random notes stringed throughout my Google Docs. Sorry, I totally interrupted you and went on my little sidebar there.
No, it's fine. I mean, we've
To
also
your
done
credit, Chris, you were the only person who remembered Yggdrasil's name.
Shock. Well, he was also one of the first NPCs that I actually had any ongoing dialogue with. Because bear in mind that we were dealing with the
That's fair.
Laughing Woods.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
That was a fun encounter. I think out of all the encounters, that was a really fun one. That was kind of a like one of the first really gruesome, gritty combats that I went into. That was really much more large scale than what I've been used to. I mean, especially culminating to the battle at Vampire Hill Manor. Like that was insane. Also, yeah, seriously, again, I'm gonna say kudos to everybody during the battle at Vampire Hill Manor for being as punctual as we were getting through combat.
we've been well
Because we really
coordinated when
didn't
it
take
comes to
much more
fighting.
time doing that. We have, and I seriously would pin that down to a lot of our leadership roles that we have in the group, Alistair, Calduin, and Tobin. Um, I want to open the floor over to the people who've been there since the first episode. How has it been having new players join into your pre-existing campaign that you've been playing in since day one?
I think it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely had some interesting um, sessions, and especially with the one between Tobin and Ezekiel, that was definitely something I did not expect to see. But I think they've integrated really well into the party. It's just felt like they've been here since day one.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Another drink.
He did it to himself.
I literally, while my camera was off, I just took a sip. Because I'm like, oh, I'm going red. All right, time to rejoin. Sorry, Liam.
It's all good. But that's what I've got to say, I guess.
Look at my notes here.
Owen, Nate, do you either of you have any contributions on the
You,
matter?
Owen, you said you seemed like you had something you wanted to say in regards to my last question.
I was honestly gonna second what Liam said. Like it felt different, but it also felt like they've been here for longer than just like the session or two that like Ezekiel has been here. Like, and also we're kind of used to people coming and going, as with Amarath, as well as um
Striker.
Striker. Yeah, it's been so long I forgot his name. Um,
And I suppose the
Yeah, I mean,
flitting
he left
between
in what,
Cal-
episode 6?
yeah, he left like
I suppose as well with the flitting between Nyes or Knees and Calduin as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Our party has seen a lot of changes and switches throughout its time. That's been honestly really cool and really interesting. I was always hesitant to have guest stars come in, but after this campaign, especially having obviously Dante and Adrian join us, as well as having our buddy Nate join us as Safiri for a couple of episodes. Like, that has been really fun, and I think in the future I would love to bring in other people as guest stars. Because I think it's just a really fun concept, and I think and especially with like having new faces join our group, even if the world is already pre-established and the story we're already balls deep, it's really fun, and it adds nice perspectives on the story and on the cause. Um, I'll leave the floor open if does someone else have a talk that they want to bring up.
Yeah, I just this is the first. I see this as the first ever proper campaign I've ever been in, and I still, over 80 episodes in, I still don't really know what I'm doing. So to be able to have more experienced players than I, especially in 3.5, just drop in and help me out in terms of rulings, character ideas, spells I could use, is extremely helpful. And they're just players and they're great people. So I'm just really happy that I got such good players all around to be able to play with on a near weekly basis.
I absolutely agree with that. I think just going back on what you said, and as well as the last thing I said, having Chris and Shellen joining us, offering new perspectives, and of course with Chris knowing the rules on the back of his hand, buffing our party and into a different stratosphere that I would have never expected the party to be. Like, I messaged a couple of you guys on just like the one night. I was just really awestruck about how diverse and interesting not only our party is, but as all of you as players and as characters. Like the different prestige classes, the subclasses, the multi-classes, the backstories, working with me and rooting you guys into this world. It's been really awesome. And just like how badass each of you sound. It's just like, I have to bring up this document. Hold on. Do I have this document somewhere? I have all of your classes fucking written down. Like, just how cool all of you sound. Like, this is exactly what I look for in D&D, is you seriously are badass heroes with unique ways that each of you attack your characters and build your characters. I don't know. It's really fucking dope. I don't know how else I can keep stating it and restating it. You guys just like a Red Avenger monk and a Crusader, Paladin, fucking whatever else you are.
Eternal Blade.
Eternal Blade, thank you. Druid of the wild, whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't have the fucking.
Nature's Warrior, Druid.
A Scout Blood Hunter, like, you guys are literally Batman over here with his Artificer shirt.
I
You
have
guys
the most
are-
boring build out of anyone. I'm just doing straight Artificer the whole way through.
It
You guys
uses
are
going
just
straight Dragon
genuinely
Adept.
the Avengers. And yet, somehow, with all of your class compositions, all of the unique ways that you built your characters, even playing your characters straight through level 1 to 20, you're still cool. Like, I don't know. It's awesome. Did you have any question connecting to that, Nate?
Not really. So I'm just gonna.
Not really.
I'm just the question, getting my piece in as well.
Hell yeah.
How do you guys feel about the progression of the NPC stories like Safiri, Kay, Vidale, etc.?
It was hard to see Cade go. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Rip Kay.
I was gonna say that exact same thing. I, in the back of my mind, I was hoping like after this whole thing gets over and like after we like split up, Kay and I would have a partnership, like, and we could use each other's resources for stuff. And now that he's not here anymore, I'm like, no.
All by yourself.
Like that
Diplomacy. All by yourself.
that day where Caldoin and Kay had that talk, and then Wes sent me that I'm dying text. I think part of me just didn't want to believe it. I don't think I fully reacted until like the episode he was gone. Like we read the will.
I felt the exact same way. Like, as the architect, life and death, I knew this was coming. I've had this planned for a while.
And you're
And
still
I sent you that text, and I was sad, but I feel like it really never hit me until he left, and then I'm like, I'm never gonna play him again.
Mm-hmm.
The finality kicked in.
Killing Chaos was not only really difficult, but and I mean as well as removing Gawain from the cast of NPCs because if you guys couldn't tell, his send off, that was it. He's going to the Aether Wilds with Paylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for him. It was really difficult, but also it was an intentional decision to let the newer campaign 2 NPCs shine without the cloud of nostalgia that myself and the people who experienced these characters during the first campaign has.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was one of my intentional decisions when it came to killing Chaos, was that I want a lot of the campaign 2 people we've met, Safiri, Vidale, new friends along the way. Like it was an intentional, but I really didn't actually understand how difficult it would be to lose a character who's been in my mind and in my stories for probably the last 5 years. It was really interesting. I really did feel like grief in in a good way, not in a sad way, you know. But I think that's a really good question of having these of your question, Nate, and seeing these characters progress and explore their own stories while being side characters to your stories. It's been really interesting, especially seeing Vidale open up to you guys, and then of course her relationship with Jonathan. And I was thinking about it earlier, and I thought a criticism that could be there is that the relationship has moved fast.
Yeah.
And I thought, but it's the end of the world. Things change when life is finite.
Hmm.
And so, like, of course, like, it does feel rushed, but at the same time, these people don't know if they're gonna be dead next week, next month, next year. So take advantage of the life that you have, not that the life you think you will have.
Hmm. Yeah,
Does anyone else have any insight into Nate's character? Sorry, Nate's question. Go on, Nate. Sorry, Nate's character.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, honestly, like, Kay, Vidal, Varys, everybody, like they don't even feel like side characters to me. They feel like they are just as important as us. Like they just don't like appear, like they're just not with us often is like the reason why like they still have important parts to play in their story, and I'm always interested to see how their story develops. It's just we're not there
Yeah.
POV.
A fine example is, say,
And-
back when we were dealing with the Everdark incursion and finding out that Mr. Kirky was in the middle of a jungle somewhere dealing with a unusually large snake. Will we ever know that story? Perhaps.
Oh,
Maybe.
probably not.
I think that's a goal of a dungeon master, is just to make the world feel that it's living and breathing, and it's not just centered around your party as much as it is, that the characters still are living and breathing and have their own adventures that we may not explore, but you know that it's happening. Of course, with Vidal and Co. heading off to um, the dilapidated city of Palos, like, obviously we're not going to explore what they do there, but you know that it's.
Ooh.
I think.
Oh, when did I cut off?
Basically at the start
Vidal.
of at Vidal, after Vidal, essentially. When
Going
know
to
that
Vidal
Palos
Vidal's
goes.
and
going over
not
to
knowing
Palos.
Yeah, just like we're not going to explore those stories of Vidal and Co. going off to the dilapidated city of Palos, but like the stories still happen. These people still experience their adventures, which could be just as dangerous as whatever you guys are going to get into. Just if we're not going to explore that, and that's just kind of a goal as a dungeon master, is just to have your world feel like it lives and breathes with or without your party.
Yeah, wonderfully said.
I mean, I will say that there actually was an interaction over by Palos that I quite enjoyed a while ago when we were dealing with the assassin vines, and Nate's character had speak with plants going. And meanwhile, I'm going ahead and telling him to threaten the plants to get off of us, otherwise I'm going to torch them. And meanwhile, he's just happily making diplomacy the whole way through. And meanwhile, I'm just blindly assuming that he's properly translating what I'm telling him. And that was a delight for me.
That was awesome.
That was funny.
Um, well, I'll leave the floor open. Does anyone else have anything that they want to bring up and chat about?
Yeah, actually. Sorry, is it okay if I go?
Yeah, that's fine. Go.
Awesome. So, just a general question. It's kind of like it's a two-parter. What's your biggest pet peeves in D&D? And second question, what is something you've always like thought about, like wanted to do in D&D?
I could answer that, but it'd be like a joke answer.
Joke answers are accepted. Absolutely, go for it.
Give us your joke answer. Hell yeah.
What everyone's been hearing me complain about the entire campaign is how I can't roll. That's my biggest pet peeve.
We're
And
working on it.
one thing I want to do is hit something.
That would help.
Oh my god.
Merry Christmas, Liam.
I love Liam. Jesus Christ.
Oh man. All right, I think I got an answer for this question. What's my biggest pet peeve when it comes to D&D? I'm going to say this in a weird way, but I'll elaborate on it. As I dislike those people with main character syndrome. Not that it's bad to want to be the main character of the story that you're playing in. It's just when you refuse to work with your fellow players and your DM to make a cohesive story, and you'd rather just, oh, I have the answer for this. Oh, I got it. I know what we're doing here. You know, I really value Dungeons and Dragons as a collaborative game, and when people try to get in the way of that for their own personal glory, just to feel better about themselves instead of thinking, oh, this is a story that we're trying to build together. It would be better if I, maybe took my foot off the pedal just to let other people accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've always wanted to do in D&D is a space
Not be a
theme.
forever DM.
Wes, you cut out, or
Wes is
you're
frozen.
frozen.
Oh my.
Hey Wes, how about you go downstairs
Oh,
to the
am I?
Oh, he's back.
I'm here.
Back.
Sorry, Nate. I couldn't hear exactly what you said. Could you re-say that?
One thing you want to do is not be a forever DM.
I actually don't. I enjoy being a player. It's a lot of fun. But I think as far as my love for Dungeons and Dragons, I enjoy building a world and I enjoy putting together a story and working with all of you guys to that story into life. And I think that's something I value more about D&D than just being a player and rolling a d20 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually don't mind being the forever DM. I that's what really got me into D&D is running games and building stories and all that. So I don't mind being the forever DM. And if I'm never a player in a long-term campaign for the rest of my life, then that would be fine to me, because at least I can make these stories for other people to enjoy, because I think that brings me a lot more enjoyment.
Right on.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
I would say that, yeah, I have to agree with Wes on the main character syndrome. I've dealt with campaigns before where individual players would sometimes go for the main character syndrome, but taking a slightly different route, that they went about it by dragging down the other PCs rather than trying to elevate themselves up. It was tasking, to say the least. It felt more like babysitting with dice. But I mean, that's one of the things. You'll end up finding groups of people, and if you're happy with that D&D, then great, perfect, happy that you find that satisfying. If you find that another group works better with you, even better. Um, as far as a D&D build that I'd want to use, or rather something that I've never done before, probably figure out a way to make a bard that does not make me feel as though I'm going through dental surgery. I really don't like bards. I don't.
Okay.
Could you elaborate on that? On the, like, dental surgery sounds like it's ass, but, like, what do you not like about bards that you couldn't flavor in a way that makes it enjoyable to you?
I'm sure that there's some way that it could be more of a enticing approach, but really for most of my experience, whenever I try to sit down and really develop a bard, I usually end up doing something ridiculous like making this one character that I had once that I dubbed the Diplomonster because it was able to perform epic level diplomacy checks by I think it was level 7, thus negating pretty much any combat side of ever dealing with anything ever again as long as it held a language. Or the alternative is actually finding a cohesive use for them inside of my gaming style that also fit a party.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's probably some way, but really a lot of the time that I'm looking at a bard, I'll try to find any other way of getting around it, and if I must, then it's maybe a one level dip to get or to accomplish some means to do something really nifty later with other classes.
Fair point. I built a bard recently with Bard Paladin with Layla's character. And I, like you, I've never really been interested in the Bard's kit until I really started to explore the Bard Paladin multi-class. So I can understand that sentiment. It's why I prefer not to play classes like Wizard or Cleric. Unless it's like a War Cleric, because, shoutouts Kuaku. Um, it's just some of those characters, like, I've played a lot of different characters, but I like playing characters who are a lot grittier than, say, a wizard who has to be very pompous and that's not something that I enjoy exploring as a character, which is why I've never really explored it while building characters myself. Which is why I tend to lean towards maybe more martial classes or magical classes with something more intriguing, like a sorcerer, which is where I can build out in my story that's a lot less. But maybe that's because I just haven't really explored another character in that way, other than what I've initially been thinking. Does anyone else have any insight?
I mean, I'm willing to answer my own question.
Answer your own question, and then Nate, you're up next.
Yeah. So something that I really don't enjoy in D&D would be like the type of rules lawyer who argue over the rule of cool. Because the rule of cool is a very important like thing in the D&D world and allows you to honestly just have more fun and be more expressive with your character. But rules lawyers I love the fact they know the game, they know the rules. Yes, Chris, I see you raising your hand.
Me never, no.
I'm a little dirty boy.
But yeah, like I've DM'd a bit for fifth edition and stuff before. I've played a lot of fifth edition. It's where I started my D&D career. I've played online with strangers, and there are people who are so like they've shoved the source book so far up their ass that they're that they're like, oh, you think you can do like a your DM you kill the beep EG, and your DM says, oh, how do you want to do this or some shit, and then you're like, I want to kind of like jump off this building with like a spiral movement with my sword or whatever. And then the rules lawyer will be like, you can't do that actually because of this and this and that, and it's like, no, that's not how this works.
You need a move
But
check. You need a jump check. You need or you need to have a move action rather.
I agree with that statement. It's a very fine line. It's a very fine line because, of course, we have two rules lawyers in our party. Mr. Liam and Mr. Chris.
I'm more of a
nerds.
rules reminder.
And so it's a fine line between useful calls because, you know, I myself, I'm not all too experienced in the rules. But it's a fine line between useful calls and things that like obviously should be really cool that you're just kind of being an asshole about. So I can, which I don't think either of you are. I think you guys really value player enjoyment above sticking it to the rules. One thing I do find really annoying when that happens is when I make a call and people argue with me about said call.
Yeah.
Because of course I'm the dungeon master. I make the rules, and if you know, I don't mind disregarding the rules because I want a cool moment rather than following the rules to a T and just not being able to accomplish this cool moment.
Oh, absolutely. Like as a dungeon master, I find like the biggest like rule as a dungeon master is that you're not against your players. You're like a guide for them. You're guiding them through this adventure, this journey, and like if one of them tries to stifle that journey and ruin your guiding hand or whatever, then it's like, okay, that's a problem, right? And it sucks sometimes because you want to. The whole point of D&D is to have fun. Yes, there's numbers and the clicky clacky rock because you get to roll over and over and things like that, and it is definitely very math based. but but like there's just moments where it's like you need that imagination, right? Like you need to be flexible enough to let some minor things slide here and there. And then I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you finish what you were gonna say.
Oh no, I was finished. I was gonna move on to the second question, but if you have something to say on that statement, then go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I'm sorry for the times that I have like uh made a counterpoint to like one of your decisions. I know I've done that a few times.
I can name a few player names who have done this, and it has pissed me off.
But the only thing I can
Chris, Liam, Nate, and James.
I'm innocent. Let's go.
Sorry, I had to cough.
in my
Sorry, I had to
defense,
cough.
in my defense, the only reason why I do stuff like that is just because, in terms of like, especially when it comes to, I know I do a lot when it comes to skill rolls. To me, it was just like reading the skills as they are. It would make sense for one skill over another. And I know sometimes you've agreed with it, but I know other times that you've decided. And I'm sorry if I've ever made you feel like that.
No, especially when it comes to skill rolls, that is not something that pisses me off because there's like 1,000,001 skills in 3.5, and I'm not going to be able to remember all of them and their proper applications, and so I really don't mind sometimes when I ask for a roll and you go, actually, this roll makes a lot more sense, and I'll go, Yeah, you know what? It does. You're right. Or other times, I'll make a call based on what skills you as an individual have, and so like I want you to get a good rule on this, a good roll on this, so then I can tell you stuff about the world. And so I'm
Yeah.
not. Wow, why am stumbling? Um, and so it's like, oh,
Hopefully,
do you have knowledge arcana? No. Knowledge religion works. All right. Yeah, give me knowledge religion instead. And so I don't mind those calls and going, this makes more sense. But it's those calls when it either hinders me as a storyteller. I could actually bring up one particular incident. I'm not gonna name names. I can't even remember who made these calls, but when a bunch of people were on the roof of Vampire Hill Manor and I wanted to blast them off with fire, and you're guys like, oh, that doesn't work like that. And then I'm like, but I want this cool moment where I knock you guys off the roof and you guys take a bunch of damage. I want the stakes to be high. And so, and that's when I get annoyed because I'm like, this is just a story beat that I want to hit. And going is not helping because it's just, or you're just arguing with me and I'm not getting my vision across and you're not getting what you want. Now we're just clashing.
Yeah.
Wes, I
So
want a
that's when I
character.
find it annoying. But
I mean, like,
sorry, Sean.
I was gonna say, Wes, I want a character, an NPC in this world now that speaks like that.
All right. Cool. I'm back.
yeah, we can hear you.
what you want the plain dog?
Yes.
Hmm.
Whatever that was, I want it.
Oh, talking about voices. Sorry, this is gonna be totally off topic. I learned that I can do a pretty good Cad Bane impression. So I've been practicing
let's hear
that,
it.
and I want to put that into the world.
Let's hear it.
No, I'm gonna get stage fright. No, I'm gonna get stage fright.
Now you've got an excuse to have an
Stage
intro
fright.
for
You're gonna
next year.
talk shit about it.
Yeah, you have an intro for next year.
So, yeah, hold on. I don't know how well it's gonna come off on screen, but I'll do what I can. I feel
it's gonna be
actually
great.
so
Yes.
With the
fucking different.
Yes.
if you start
I
lagging.
hate.
It is really bad right now.
Drink!
drink some more.
Great. It makes it so much better. Take a sip.
I want it, but I guess I'll open one.
But yeah, like,
Oh, this is so fun.
yeah, this is
Drink!
all drink.
Son of a bitch.
I think it's starting to affect the whole household because Shalin, you're starting to get robotic at times.
Yeah.
It's contagious.
Uh-oh.
Drink.
Damn.
Hello.
Hello.
So, Owen, would you like to carry on with the question?
How pretty I got.
Hello.
Hello.
I had a connection of 1700 ms.
Oh my god.
Oof.
Oh my god,
Oh my
that's
God.
horrible.
Yeah, I think we need to reset the router after. We should go on break soon to reset the router, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on that pretty soon. Why don't we
Yeah.
get through the rest of the answers for my question, and then we'll probably cut
Alright.
off there.
I'll do
Go
my
on break,
Bane.
yeah.
I'll do my Bane impression, and then we'll do the rest of the questions, and then we'll go on break. All right, don't judge it if it's bad, okay?
I'm already judging you.
Oh, thank you. So, Jedi, I've got you dead to rights.
Not bad.
It's almost there.
I think it's almost there. You just need to get it like a little deeper in pitch. I think.
I've got you dead to rights, Jedi.
That's almost there. Like that's
It's almost there. I still have to work on, like, he's got a weird pronunciation as well as I need to get the gravelly effect. So it's gonna take me a little bit, but I'm working on the voice, and I was like, I remember I was watching Star Wars, and I tried the voice, and I'm like, oh wow, that's close. And then I recorded myself because I'm like, okay, I sound close in my head, but do I sound close out loud? And then I tried, and I'm like, oh, you could really work on this.
Yeah.
Gargle some gravel
So
and
yeah, anyways,
argon.
sorry,
You'll be
that's
fine.
talking about voices. Yeah. Does anyone else have any insight on Sean's question? Pet peeve in D&D and something that you've always wanted to do in D&D?
Yes. So my biggest pet peeve is similar to Shalin's, but not kind of different. It is the it is the actually player. But it's like not questioning like game mechanics or how the DM rules things. It's just literally questioning the validity of everything about your game in general. You know, from the setting, from the NPCs, to the events and the time it takes place, game mechanics, DM subjective rules, because there isn't a rule in place, so you just kind of have to come up with something on the spot. Just literally questioning the whole entire game, no matter how trivial it may be. And
I find, sorry, I just to piggyback off of that, I completely agree with you. And I can think of some instances during our play where some um where it's just people, especially when it comes to languages, that's something that I always find annoying, is that like when someone wants to add to a scene and like, actually you can't speak my language, so you don't know. I find that really annoying, especially because it puts down your fellow players. In last episode, it was a very minor thing, but I have had situations in the past of where that actually causes a problem. And I guess that ties into main character syndrome. This is my scene, and you can't be a part of it. So, you know, yeah, I completely agree with that. And, like, I don't mind people who question the world sometimes when I say something, you're like, wait, hold on, that doesn't make sense. Because I'm not perfect as a storyteller. You know what, I'll lift the curtains. When I was talking about Osiris's eyes, and they saw the purple eyes, even before he was released, James rightfully goes, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right, that doesn't make sense. I need to make it make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it in sparing, but, you know, doing it all the time, that is super annoying.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you there.
I had one player in my first campaign that I DM'd, and obviously, like, I just had like a 5 session campaign as my very first time playing, and so I very much know what I'm doing. So I just do a pre-made adventure, do what I do best. Just grab a pre-made adventure and homebrew shit if I need to. And one player in my campaign was always questioning everything, no matter how trivial or how much sense it made. And, some of the criticisms and questions were valid, but also some of them were just complete nonsense. And that pushed me away playing from both playing and DMing for several years until I met V in college. So,
And then you
that's
joined us, and now you got the greatest play group of all time. And I'm not even glazing when I say that.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm very
We're better
happy.
than the Critical Role cast.
Uh,
I don't know
I'm
about that.
sorry. I think we're part of the wrong Discord group.
Maybe I don't know. I feel like I don't know. This play group, like I love playing in it. Like I just I just couldn't find anything better to do than playing with you guys.
ouch.
Like
Yeah, wow.
you guys are the best.
But you could find worse things to do, I guess.
Yeah, I
Wait,
could.
is it a compliment because you couldn't find anything better, meaning we're the best thing?
Yeah, that's what,
Okay.
Ah.
I guess
that's what I
your
meant.
tone of voice did not help that statement.
Yeah,
It
we were
kind
like,
of
is that
played
an
up.
insult? What?
It kind of
No, I'm
played out the
just
whole thing of
being.
I could
I'm
be
just.
doing my laundry right now.
Yeah, I
But I'm
could be
procrastinating
watching
my
paint
chores.
dry, but that'd be too
Uh,
fun.
what's part two of that question? What's something you've always wanted to do in D&D?
Something I have always wanted to do, but I haven't done yet, is be just the absurd character archetype
Ah,
where it's just one level in every class.
oh, Puffin Forest. That's a good YouTuber.
Yep,
Yep. Shout out to Puffin
I
Forest.
love shout outs to Puffin for it.
See you.
Yeah, shout outs to Puffin Forest. If you ever see this, we love you, and your videos are great.
I just wanna go down. I just wanna play a character that goes down the class rainbow.
Yeah, but isn't he? Wouldn't he also be like the most useless character? Isn't that like the whole point of it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think running like a joke like game or session or whatever would be really funny. Like, come up with like the dumbest fucking character concepts ever. I think there's potential there, and then once the DM has what the players are, he can build a world around that level of stupidity, and I think that could actually work.
Yeah,
That would be funny. That would be funny. I would like that.
I'd love to do something like that.
Owen, do you have any insight on what your biggest D&D pet peeve is, and what's something you'd always wanted to do in D&D?
Um, I I would say biggest pet peeve is um people who talk over people when so technically like main character syndrome people, I would say. Like those are the guys who like talk over people and think the story revolves around them. That's definitely, I would say, is mine. Um, and for something I want to do, uh, I would say learn more about the spellcasters, because I've rarely played spellcasters, and when I did, it did not go well.
Well,
AKA,
maybe next time. Maybe next time you good old Bard Beard. Maybe next time you play character, play spellcaster.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
that would be sick. I'd love to see Fireball Owen.
Yep. I actually haven't played a martial character yet, so that's probably something that I would want to do.
Huh. Do you know what would be a fun challenge? Would be we all build each other's characters, and then we
Oh,
just do like a random
God.
wheel to see who plays what, and then you have to build a backstory off of that.
Oh Jesus.
I would feel nothing but pity for whoever gets my character that I make.
Same, because they'd probably have to reference like 8 different books for level 1.
Yep.
Well, I think with that, we'll call our quick break, and we'll convene back in
Reset the
15
rudder.
minutes or so and reset the router.
Yep.
All right,
All
big
right.
peace, everyone. See you in a minute. And delays and wrestling talk and my own stupidity getting in the way of just recording this damn episode, huh?
Yeah. Me too, man. Me too.
Well, let's get right back into the meat. Does anyone have any conversation topics that they want to bring up, or shall I ask a question?
I've got a couple of
Go
questions.
on, Liam. Go on, Liam. Ask a couple of questions. Hell yes, sir.
First question is, from the beginning of the campaign to now, what character do you all think has had the most development, like player character, in the campaign? And also, what do you think your character has, you or your character has brought into the world to make it fuller?
So, unfortunately, I can't really answer that first part of the question as I haven't really seen any of the early episodes myself. I know, fake fan, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But the characters like so far from what I've seen in the few episodes that I've been a part of, like, oh man, I gotta say, like characters like Tobin have really like changed, just even like especially in the last few episodes. It's been crazy. Like the entire party has changed. Like the dynamic that I saw when Sparrow entered the group versus when Ezekiel's entered the group, it's definitely changed quite a bit, and I think it's really cool to see like the whole party, like the party as a whole, like just switch, and it's very hard to like have that happen, and I'm very impressed. As to what my character can, like, what do I think my character's brought to the table? Sparrow, absolutely nothing. He was quite quite a useless lad. But Ezekiel, I think, so far has changed quite a bit. The fact that he showed up and almost, one shot one of your members as a test of skill and strength to join your group because you guys were all very skeptical and no one wants new members, blah blah blah. Like the fact that he's able to change that thought process in like a single flash of an instant was probably his most moving, like his most impactful thing. The other impactful thing is obviously showing up with Buford, the magical unicorn, clearly the best character of them all.
Yeah. Buford MVP.
We
Absolutely,
fucking love Buford. Buford is a fucking beautiful champion.
Buford the flying unicorn.
No, I I hate to agree. Unfortunately, when Sparrow came in, like you were still familiarizing yourself with the rules, and so we never really got to explore Sparrow richly, but of course, Shalin, in our discussions of developing your character and meshing him into the world, not only with that split-second decision of landing that critical and the test of skill and strength, and entering the Adai like even like you said, just purely showing up and like having doubts in the institution that he's familiar with and renouncing his family, renouncing his order, and fighting for something that he actually believes in is absolutely something that you bring to the table, as well as the really fun foil between our two knights in the party, Ezekiel and Tobin, where they come from completely different worlds, different childhood, different ways where they gained their knighthood, but and of course the clash between them. Maybe I'm projecting, but maybe the clash of leadership later of, maybe Ezekiel thinks one planet is better than, and Tobin thinks another one is, and they kind of clash for leadership. I think that would be a really fun foil to explore. And I think that's something that Ezekiel and you, Sheldon, bring to the table. In answering the original question, I have obviously a few different answers. I think that Tobin has gone through a great deal during this campaign, especially from the young, naive, wannabe knight that we met in the first episode to a battle-hardened realist who finally understands the mortality of the situation that he's found himself in. There's, of course, as well as Calduin, who's gone through just as rich of a change, although a different perspective. In the beginning, Calduin was hardened. He, as much as he thought about his tribesmen and his fallen race, he was very self-centered when it came to his survival. He really only cared about if he lived on and if he could keep protecting. But he never really stopped to think on the empathy of who he's protecting and what it means to be a protector instead of swinging a sword, being like a father figure or a brother.
The ongoing jokes of Daduin.
I love Daduin. I like. Okay, maybe that sways my answer just because I'm a simp for Daduin. I think it's such a beautiful and natural progression that was made throughout the campaign, not only to what Calduin has gone through, but what you, Liam, I know you, what you've gone through, being the eldest brother in a family, and I don't want to divulge, but the stuff with your father and how you had to step up and be the man of the house and to protect your mother and your younger brothers, and how you bring that experience to the table and to Yonatan or to Calduin. I genuinely think that's beautiful, and I really I love Calduin. I love you, Liam. But that's like, of course, my second answer, because I told you I had multiple. My third would actually, crazily enough, be Orgolan. When we first met Orgolan, he was a lone wolf. If we talk about self self-surviving characters, when we met Orgolan, he was closed off and he only really cared about himself and his next kill. as we saw him develop, of course, with his relationship with his sister, conflicting and eventually, unfortunately, killing his father and claiming lordship over Fort Obelisk.
Well, spoiler
And-
alert.
It's over a year old. It's not a spoiler.
It's over a year old. You're a fake fan, motherfucker. No, I'm kidding.
Fake fan.
And just now seeing him in present times, I see a lot of the hesitancy and the doubt that plagues Orgolan of living in his brother's shadow, abuse of his father, and then now with his sister, who he originally hoped would have welcomed him in open arms, but instead is standoffish. It's been really interesting to see Orgolan opening up, and as well as opening up to all of you. Like, he was very standoffish in the beginning, and for a couple episodes, he conflicted with Beckett. But it's been really interesting to see that bond of brotherhood open up between characters like Tobin and Calduin, Yonatan, and eventually slowly accepting Beckett. So I think that would be my third answer, but I think Tobin, Calduin, and Orgolan have really gone through a lot of change, and that's not saying that characters like Yonatan hasn't gone through a lot of growth, but it really seems like these other characters really stepped into their change, while Yonatan is held back by a lot more trauma, and he's afraid to step into a better frame of mind.
I have to agree. One of the people that did come to mind was Orgolan with their character development, and one thing that definitely proves it is the time when we were fighting the Rift fight, where Calduin stepped up and thought of this whole plan to divide everybody up to properly save who they could save, and Orgolan was just like, "No, I'm gonna go do my own thing." And then we go to the war where he's even thinking of like trying to go towards Tobin to save Tobin, trying to like stop these the spread of all these people coming on, and even not even attacking the Asheratis, knowing Calduin's connection to them.
He really has stepped into the idea of family, which I believe is honestly one of the main ongoing themes of our group entirely, is the bond of family and your chosen family.
Mhm.
And although the mistakes of your past and of what you have gone through, you now have this new family to take care of, these new brothers and sisters and fathers and friends that now you feel the need to take care of. And I think Orgolan really reflects that in the way that he was very self-centered and he just worried about his next kill, but now he cares for his fellow brother. He has the weight of dependency of his people on his back, that he now is stepping into learning how to be a leader and learning how to work with his fellow man instead of being a lone wolf. Very well said, Liam.
I'm comfortable with saying that pretty much the entirety of the cast has demonstrated a personal development arc of some nature, anyway. Whether or not it really stands out really is more of a thing of your own personal sense and nuance therein. For example, we already knew about, for example, Ionatan's whole deal with his guilt and survivorship complex. And so he latched on to Peter, and so only recently he's given up the very thing that anchored him as an individual back to like his own roots. He's let Peter go. So I
That's a
mean,
very excellent thought that I had not put together myself. That is very well said. Sorry, continue, but that I completely agree with that.
so from where I stand, even though it might be a quieter character moment, that doesn't necessarily make it any less poignant. You can you can be a terrible, horrible, evil bastard as your through line the entire way through, and as long as you actually show that the development of how and why your character remains that evil bastard the whole way through, it might have just shifted from a couple of ticks of a degree, but it does actually present itself inside of a new light and a different tone, even if it might be more subtle at times than others.
Excellently said, and I think Alistair himself has been subject to a very subtle development. And I think that's one of the stories I really want to explore in the future of TBS is exploring some of our newer characters like Alistair, and in the arc coming up is exploring Beckett's past and the illness that ails her, as well as something that has plagued her hometown for a few decades. Is that I really am excited to explore the past and the stories of Alistair, Ezekiel, and Beckett, as we've really explored Tobin, Yonatan, and Calduin, as well as we've had glimpses into Orgolan's. As I'm super excited to work with you guys and develop these stories and tie you guys into the greater plot.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
I mean, and we've already been, especially with Ezekiel, have been sowing seeds, especially with his fucking racist tutor.
My sensei. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sensei letter opener.
calling Tobin, calling Tobin a fucking lesser race. Like, damn.
Mhm.
Yeah. Having conflicts with your sensei about racism is fun.
Yeah, and then I mean, I think that ties into your whole conflict with why you left your family in search for a greater purpose.
Hmm.
Nothing like
But
a
still
bit
having these.
racism in a D&D game.
Racism
Of course, and I
in
mean,
a game with races. Damn.
damn.
Screw gnomes!
Does anyone else have any topics that they want to bring up?
Nobody's really answered
Yeah.
the second question I had asked.
Oh, sorry. What's your second question?
It was the what do you think your character has brought to the world to like expand on
Characters
it?
brought to the world. That's
Yeah,
Money!
yeah, Wes.
Yeah.
Wes, what has your character brought to the world? Like, come on, bro.
well. I think
All of the
I'll talk about an influential character. Obviously would be Kay, on what he brought to the world, being a mentor and a guide to guide you on your quests in becoming now the most important people in the realm. Beyond that would be like a character like Silas, who adds a sense of grounding to the world. He's a very human character with his goals and aspirations. I don't consider Silas an evil character. He's very just survivalistic, and he, like a lot of people in real life and in fiction, they value coin above life. So I believe that's what Silas brings to the equation, is his very humanistic tendencies of a corrupt person in power.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good example.
I don't know. Owen, let's hear from you. What do you think your character has added to the world? Or I guess, how do you think your character has added to the world is the proper way to ask that question.
I mean, the funny answer is he's added a new kingdom to the world, but with Fort Obelisk being in the mainland now. Um, but uh, honestly, I'm not 100% sure what I've added so far or what I had.
Well, I think backtracking on what we were saying of Orgolan's journey is what I think you've added to the campaign is some people in the world grow up in certain situations where they have a lot more responsibility on their shoulders than others. They have to keep appearance, or they have to follow in their parents' footsteps in order to keep face. So what I think Orgolan really adds to the table is a very human approach to that of a younger brother who never thought he had to deal with the responsibilities of the person that he lived in the shadow in his whole life. And now that he is on the spotlight, he feels doubt and insecurity and almost a Stockholm syndrome is not the term I'm looking for, but it's where you, how do I explain this? It's where you feel as though you are, imposter syndrome. That's what I'm looking for. It's a lot of imposter syndrome where he was like, I should never have had to deal with this. This is what Vard should have dealt with. He was the king and not me. And now that I have to deal with it, I've never equipped myself to deal with it, and so now I have to live the consequences of learning to master a life that he was never supposed to have, in a way. Does anyone else have any insight to the second part of Liam's question? How you feel that you've added to the world?
I've
Uh,
got.
yeah.
You go ahead, Nick.
All right. I feel like Jonathan has added a lot to the campaign. Um, you know, Jonathan's arc of dealing with his emotions, constantly being in flux and trying to keep his emotions under control, even in the most dire of circumstances, is a really important issue to address, not just for in-game or in a D&D game, but in real life as well. Like, lashing out with your emotions can have very dire consequences for not yourself, but for the people around you as well. So you just have to be really careful in how you uh, in how you outlet your emotions.
That is incredibly well said. I think that's another theme that we really have been exploring in our campaign is the idea of family and found families, but as well as learning yourself and dealing with the inherent emotions and learning to outlet emotions in a safe and mentally productive way.
Hmm.
That's very well said, Nate. Just give me one moment. I need to grab it from the fridge.
I have absolutely no problem filling the air at this point. My character brought money.
Yep.
So much money, in fact, that I enslaved outside forces to make me more money. To that end, I get to help out properly equipping the saviors of the world with the tools that they need at the right price.
Yep.
Is Alistair just playing adventure capitalist in a D&D game?
Well, let me put it this way. When I started, your combined wealth might have made for the entire party about 3,000 gold at level 10. Across, what was it, 5 players?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then I came in with my starting gold of 49,000 GP, well allotted to an array of different tools and ridiculousness in that regard. And one of the first things that I did was share the wealth because, good lord, the entire party needed to have a little bit of a pick me up in that regard. Because these are the tools that I figured, okay, this is handy. I didn't know what I was going to be coming into as far as what kind of gear might have been already duplicated, but the fact that there was no magic gear really to speak of on the whole for the party meant that I had a blank canvas to go ahead and outfit you guys. So Alistair's contribution is effectively developing a, a a national output level of gold for about 7 random schmucks that are going to be single-handedly responsible for protecting the one place that he keeps all of his gold.
Hmm.
I agree with you, but to the same point, I also disagree with you. As much as you mechanically, Chris, have added a lot to our group, I think Alistair has also added some semblance of insight into another kind of unexplored territory of most of the party either has connections directly or indirectly to celestial bodies of the world, while you, Alistair, has come into the world as a
Vocal
atheist in
opponent?
some yeah, as an atheist in some senses of the word. Of, you acknowledge that these celestial bodies exist, but you do not allow them to affect your destiny, which is another thing that we've been exploring as far as a theme goes, is choosing one's destiny above what others deem is your path in life.
Well,
And I think that is something that Alistair brings, is that sense of hypocrisy to these celestial bodies and their flaws as individuals.
I think you kind of nailed it right with the statement that he is something of a atheist, with the caveat that it's, as you said, not a matter of the gods not existing, but more of a question of, okay, so what makes the gods better than me?
Yeah,
And I
and
mean,
carving destinies. Oh, sorry, go on.
and I mean, yeah, that's definitely a point that I like to throw around, and not inside of the sense of, okay, well, I mean, God can go ahead and have a sauna afternoon inside of a lava pit, but more on a like awareness of the responsibility that that kind of mantle would hold.
Yeah.
Um,
Does anyone else have any insight to the question?
I've got
Liam, you may have had some.
yeah, I've got
Yeah,
something to my
Liam, you
own
go ahead.
question.
Liam,
For
go ahead and answer your own question. Hell yeah.
for me, when it comes to Calduin, um, not just like the campaign, but to the world as a whole, I feel like he brings a whole culture and a uh, sense of artistic expression that sometimes isn't explored in other campaigns. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think especially with the Asherati colonies as a whole, you bring a sense of groundedness in another sense of the word of sure, Alistair and Silas could bring us glimpses of the gritty real world of industrialization. Calduin and the Asherati bring us a more rural, more
Traditional?
homestead, traditional is the word I'm looking for, a more traditional sense of um society, but as well as D&D culture in a whole, where most societies in a D&D campaign precise so this is an orcish village, this is an elvish village, this is a human village. That was something that I explored in my world building, is that I wanted to mesh a lot of these cultures together but still have the tribalism that some races still adhere to. For example, would be, of course, the Asherati, but as well as like the Asherati and the Volnar, as well the Valdenoids. Valdoon is the plural. The Asherati and the Valdoon, as well as places like Kalamdoon, where it is a mainly dwarvish population, or like through the various Druidic cultures that we've explored that have been mainly elvish and human. Or, of course, like Fort Obelisk and the race of the Drow, who have had their own various influences on society. Whereas either it's the Drow of Fort Obelisk that Orgolan is related to, or the Drow that had migrated to the Boundless Shores and struggled through their various walks of life.
Yeah, and
I completely agree
sorry.
that Calduin brings a sense of culture and of small acts of kindness develop to worldly kindness.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about how Alistair brings this, it's going on about how he thinks like how is the gods better than he is, in terms of like at least with Calduin and his Asherati beliefs, it's not necessarily the same boat, but it's like they acknowledge that the gods are there, but it all comes down to time. Time is what takes everything.
Which is, like, of course, like the foil between the Asherati that Calduin is related to versus the Asherati of Volnar, who are blinded by their faith to a potentially destructive force, and their utter faith to that rather than the Ashrati that Alduin is related to, in the fact that their faith and worldliness comes from the earth itself. To wrap this all up, does anyone have a final topic that we want to end tonight's episode off on?
What's an NPC you'd like to see again?
Rathen, my boy Rathen.
Rather than is dead.
Oh,
I want to see my boy Rathen again. If you could ship any two characters from the Boundless Shores and Minds of Fendelver series with no restrictions, who would they be?
You know what? Safiri and Kuaku would be a very chaotic gay couple.
whoever the bad guy is of Fandelver and Forklift.
Black Spider and Forklift. Oh my.
Oh, Forklift, our son.
My boy Forklift.
To answer your question seriously, I think Elis Finnegan making a return. That was the human engineer who kind of walked away after you guys were shunned by society.
Mm-hmm.
I think his perspective coming back might be really interesting, and the party forgiving him for adhering to societal norms. I think that would be a lot of fun to discover, as well as, honestly, I want more Safiri scenes. I think Safiri is fucking awesome, and I think like the final scene with you guys and Safiri going off with Vidal's party and saying that he vows that he will not leave these shores until they are safe, and that moment with Tobin was really touching. So I'm always a simp for scenes where we get to see the softer side of Safiri rather than him being a crazed, bloodied dog folk.
Mm-hmm.
I know this wasn't this is more of nostalgia, if anything else. But I I always wondered what happened to Norloth from the first campaign, the Knoll companion of Ardir.
Yeah, he's dead. He died valiantly on the battle at Anghor's Peak. No, he died.
I actually still
Anyone
have
else?
Ardir's character sheet beside me the entire time. It's been sitting on top of my PC.
That's insane. You know what? Maybe we'll use that at some point. Does anyone else have any insight with this question? It's an NPC that they would like to continue to explore or see again?
Yeah. I would like to see Chandra's perspective on things, to be perfectly candid with you. I'd be really interested to see like how she got to this point of alliancing with the Vainglorious X.
Hmm. Question. Good answer. Sorry.
That'll be the sub show once we actually get the Boundless Shores animated. It'll be the Vainglorious X sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Well,
that's
I think
X will be a sideshow.
we'll end this episode of Paradise off. Is where would you like to see your character go in the oncoming end game of the Boundless Shores? Where would you like to see your character progress to? And I don't know. You could really take this question as an open ended. What would you like to be your happy ending? Where do you see your character going?
With the loss of the tier, that is a bit of a devastating blow to Alistair. It's going to be hard to find a happy ending for him as things are right now. But there might be peace at least.
For Calduin, I think his end goal would just, at this moment, is being there for Milo, preparing Milo for the hardship that's going to be coming in taking over the Bloodhounds, and then after that, just sharing his culture with the world. Maybe meet some girl.
A happy ending, Jonathan, I imagine, would be finally mastering his flames so that they aren't volatile, as well as settling down somewhere with Fidel and starting a family and just living out a peaceful life after everything is said and done.
I know we've only really explored very little of Ezekiel, but what do you, Shalon, think of what his future may be?
Um, I think. Sorry, I think his future could have like. Sorry, thank you. I think his future is gonna be a lot of self discovery and learning to just be a new person for him because he's worked only in like the order of that he fought for and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of self discovery coming up ahead and just finding who he is and who he wants to be because he'd always been forced to be somebody he wasn't, and now that he's finally found a sense of freedom, he's able to figure out who he is and what what his goals are. So right now he's just kind of lost and doesn't know where he's going or what he's doing. All he knows is that he's with this group. He's proven himself. He's very proud that he's proven himself, and that he's just gotta, stick with him and see where the road takes him, because that's where his dreams, his visions, and all his life he believes has led up to this point in his life. So that's kind of where he's going. And then I think at some point he might go stand up to his family, possibly something of that sort, or maybe even against the entire order that he fought for originally, because his morals no longer um, align with theirs. So he might end up as like a complete enemy to his former order.
To round us off, Owen, do you have any insight onto where Orgolan's story may lead? If he's here. Oh yeah, he is here. Hell yeah.
Um, honestly, not really. Just kind of thinking what everyone kind of has been saying, but yeah.
I'll ask you a more specific question. Does Orgolan truly see himself as the leader that his people need?
I think at this moment he doesn't, but I'd say just give it time and we will see.
We shall see. And I think that's what's so beautiful about Dungeons and Dragons as a whole is that we'll see, and even I shall see as the person who's putting the story together. I don't know how it's gonna end. We'll just have to wait and see and ride it out. We could have another 20, or we could have another 40 episodes, and we may be here in a year's time talking about the year that we had in 2025. So, um,
Man, wasn't
thank
that plague of
you.
trout pox awful in 2025?
Oh my god, right? Duckpox. I purely, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you so much for all of our viewers who have been sticking by us and keeping updated on the story that we've been developing. And I want to say thank you to my players for working with me and making the greatest campaign that I have ever run. And I'm so excited to see where the story leads and to find out next to all of you who are my closest best friends. You guys are super awesome, and I will forever relish on this feeling of community and brotherhood that we've developed with each other. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, all of you. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for putting up with our ridiculous shenanigans.
It's my pleasure. I love to make you guys smile and to be here week in, week out, and work with you guys and to make just an awesome experience.
Thank you for being an awesome DM, man. Like none of this could have been possible without any of us. Like especially you. Like goddamn. this campaign is special because we are all contributing towards it and cooperating with each other in building a story that we are all happy with. But,
Well,
I appreciate the hustle out of you. Really do.
thank you. And I'm so proud to be here and to be your dungeon master and to explore these stories with you. So I want to say to you guys, my friends, you guys, the audience, to whoever's out listening, happy fucking holidays. And thank you for being on this journey with us. And I'm just so excited to see where 2025 leads us. I'm going to keep yapping until Nate takes a breath. You guys are awesome.
Have a wonderful holiday.
Happy
I
holidays.
gotta run out of voice early. Haha. Happy fucking holidays, you guys. Be safe, cherish each other, and feel the love that the holidays spread. Thank you.
Happy Freedom Day.
Happy Freedom Day.
Happy Freedom Day.
We'll see you guys in the new year. Talk to you
Peace.
soon.
Big peace.